Ryan Aber, the Oklahoman.
Yeah, Brandon, good to talk to you again. I want to ask you about Billy Bowman. What have you seen from him to this point in spring, and how has he handled that settling into that role?
Well, he's a young guy he cares. I mean, he's out there right now doing stuff on his own. He asks a lot of questions. It's a new position for him, but Coach Venables was really adamant about not moving him and letting him really settle into that position. We think that he can be one of our better players on defense. Obviously, he's very talented. But still he's young for that position. I definitely think he's going to get it just because he's putting in the time, not only on the field but off the field. I love his attitude. He's very competitive, but at the same time, he's very good about taking notes and trying to put the yesterday behind him, and obviously trying to get better the next time he goes out.
Okay, Jesse Crittenden on the end, Morgan transcript.
Hi, Brandon. I wanted to ask you kind of in the same vein about Key Lawrence, obviously a guy that played some cornerback and some safety last year. What have you seen from him? He's
one of our more experienced guys. He's out of the two deep guys. Obviously, he's played the most. I think at the same time though, he's played a lot of snaps. He's not played a lot of snaps at that position, and so I think he's doing better. He's getting there, so to speak. But I think he's a lot like Billy. There's a lot of learning to do from not only a call, but all, from a call perspective, but also from a football perspective. Anytime you learn a new position, you're not only learning a defense, you're learning how to understand the types of plays that you're going to get on that side of the football field, whether you're a field safety, a boundary safety, a D lineman, a linebacker, whatever it is. Your eyes are in a different place for the first time, and recognizing formations and plays. It goes into all of that, and he's doing a really good job. Again, he cares. He's asking lots of good questions, and he's going to be a really good player.
Over here, Eric Bailey, Tulsa World.
Brandon, last season, the past few years, turnovers have really been a point of emphasis, almost to an extreme. And I know turnovers are important on defense, but what's your philosophy on turnovers? I mean, is it product of the play? Is it something you focus on every down? Or just talk to us a little bit about curing those turnovers.
Yeah, I think it's the goal of the defense to get the ball back. So if you get, that's the objective, right? Is to get the football. It's a little bitty oblong gray leather object, and your job is to get the ball back. So every time that ball's in the air or that ball's on the ground or whatever, our job is to go get that football. And so Coach Venables is adamant about turnovers. All great defenses create turnovers, and I think the things that he's done here in the past, things he's done at Clemson, obviously he's always been one of the top in the country as far as turnover goes. So there's not a day goes by that he doesn't emphasize getting the ball back. And if the ball's on the ground, we own that football.
Right side, Bob Crisabillo, center scoop.
Brandon, we talk about Key, Billy, guys who haven't really played the position. That seems to be the general consensus for most of the room. Has it been tough to have leaders emerge when they're all trying to learn together? Yeah,
it depends on how you look at it. You know what I'm saying? You want it for them as much as they want it. So it's always frustrating when they're trying to learn and you're trying to teach. But at the same time, nothing's better as a coach than watching somebody take a technique, take a call, take a coverage, apply what you say in the meeting room, or Coach Venables, installing something new, or Coach Roof, or whoever it is, and then watching them, start to see them grow in that part of the game. And so, it's growing pains anytime you put a new system in. These guys are playing their butts off, man. They care. They're bought in. They're doing everything that we ask of them, and it's just a matter of time. All of a sudden, that light switch clicks, and you keep saying the same thing over, trying to brainwash them, so to speak, and then pretty soon we're all saying the same language, going down the same road, doing the same thing, and it becomes a really special thing when that happens.
James Hale.
Brandon, you've talked a lot about the install. How difficult is it when, as you pointed out, Key hasn't necessarily played this spot, Billy didn't play this spot, the Royals has played a little bit, but he may be playing something else this spring. So how difficult has this install been for you at the safety position?
Well, I think the biggest thing is they know what they do, but we get a lot of different looks, and our offense does a really good job of tempoing the ball at certain times and doing a lot of different things, and we've seen a bunch of different things from them. And so, yeah, you're gonna install it, you know what I'm saying, versus this, then all of a sudden you get out there and it's something completely different. Then you got to teach the adjustment off of that. And so, one thing that we're not going to do is obviously be stagnant on offense, and because of that, as coaches, we can't be stagnant. And so it's a constant, maturation or whatever you want to say of learning the call, learning the defense. And you get them here in a Greaseport right now, they probably drop every single thing that they're supposed to do if people are just stagnant and do things. But at the same time, the game of football is so fluid, and it's their ability to adjust and see something that may be a little bit off. That's where we're continuing to get better, I think.
Okay, far right side, Ryan Chapman.
Hey, Coach. The corners, and Coach White kind of talked about how it's more complicated than what they were doing last year, but the players themselves are incredibly excited about it. What's kind of been your feedback from your room digesting the new playbook and how they've kind of come along in that mental aspect of it and just attacking the new defense?
Well, I think attacking is the main word. This defense that we're installing is just that we're trying to create a lot of issues for offenses. All right, we're going to bring pressure from a lot of different areas, never line up in this, and give you what you want, so to speak. I think Coach Venables has made a trademark of that of his defense doing that. And so when you do that, though, you've got to learn how to adjust to a lot of different looks because that's going to be the answer. I think the guys are excited. We're getting sacks, we're getting stops, we're getting turnovers. It's just for us, just the little things. Just seeing the little nuances, the little motions, and whatever it is that's a little bit off, and continuing to adjust to those things. But right now they're excited, man. They're in there, during the day on their own, watching film, watching practice, trying to get better, trying to learn the defense. And I'm telling you, one day they'll wake up and it'll be like they've done it their whole lives. And when that happens, I think that the group is a really good group of guys. And so the one thing they lack is the one thing that they're going to build, and that's experience in the system. I've been some places where you got to worry about culture, you got to worry about this. That's not the issue. It's just a matter of time for those guys get it figured out, and when they do, it's going to be really neat to watch them play.
Left side, Eli Letterman, Tulsa World.
You mentioned kind of experienced guys having to learn something new, but conversely, what does that experience do for them as they do figure it out and kind of trickle down in that group?
Well, it's like this, right? So anytime you're put in an uncomfortable situation in life, it's like a rubber band, right? If a rubber band's not stretched, it's what? It's useless, right? And so these guys are out there every day, and our job as coaches is to stretch them, to make them go farther than they've ever gone, to be put in a position so that when they walk out in that stadium against UTEP or the Cotton Bowl, whoever it is, man, that they've already experienced the most difficult mental aspect of the football game that they can experience. And so we got a bunch of rubber bands, man, and they need to be stretched. And so that's been the main key. Like I said, we're putting something on them, and that's okay. That's part of the growing part of it. But at the end of the day, when we come out the other side of it, we'll be a lot mentally tougher football team, tougher defense because of that. So
in keeping with the metaphor, do you find that you can stretch some of those guys who have been here and who
I think anybody that's bought in and has a passion for anything will stretch as far as they need to be stretched. The way that, Coach Schmidt, Coach Venables, if you're all in, you're all in, right? It's like a marriage. You're going to go as far as you need to go to make it work, right? And I think those guys are in the same mindset.
Second. Oh, okay. No more, Justin. Any other questions? Go back to Ryan.
Yeah, Brandon, you talk about that stretching, and you mentioned the tempo that you see on the other side with the offense. How much do those sort of play into each other? How much does the tempo that you're seeing on the other side help push things?
I think the biggest part of that is like it's part of football, right? Everybody at some point runs tempo, and so it's not new. I just think that what it requires you to do is you got to come to practice ready to go, man. You can't have an off day. You've got to be locked in. You've got to get the call. You've got to get lined up. You've got to execute. You've got to communicate. You've got to over-communicate because when people, and I'm talking about every offense in general, when they start going fast, man, it's like this, and it comes from experience, right? So when you start playing alongside somebody, after a while, you get to just the nuances of their body language tell you everything that you need to know about what they're going to do, and I think that as we go along, that's the biggest key is just getting comfortable playing in those situations when people are going fast and just settling in and trusting, hey, this guy's outside, this guy's inside, and this is where I need to be.
Go back here to Eric Bailey.
Brandon, I'm going to take you back a few years. Everyone's getting ready for the Heisman dedication with Baker Mayfield in a couple weeks during the spring game. I'm going to ask you about 2000. Josh Heupel, how much do you think he was so close to getting that Heisman Trophy? How close was he in your eyes?
Man,
he's having a statue up there himself.
I'm so old. Man, that's 2000, and that's 22 years ago. The only thing I really remember, obviously Coach Heupel was a player here and then was a GA when I was an analyst here. The only thing I remember about that is after the national championship game, we came back, and there's 5,000 people out there. And he asked my my wife, she would go to McDonald's for him because he couldn't go outside. But it was a cool time, man. He was a great player, an even better person, and just, you know, he was the epitome of what a leader looked like. I mean, of course, there's been a couple of Heisman Trophy winners since that time, but we were just clicking on all cylinders at that time, and I think it was just a tribute to Coach Stoops and the culture, and obviously Coach Heupel was a part of that, and yeah, I think everything was cool to me back then. You know, I just had a baby that year, and had just become a GA that year, and we were going to the national championship that year. It's the first time we'd been #1 in forever, right? So, I mean, it was just a lot of stuff, man. But I'm sure it was really cool on top of a lot of other things.
Okay, a couple more. Justin Martinez, the Oklahoman.
Coach, appreciate your time. We talked to you last month. You said eventually things are going to slow down. You're going to realize you're living your dream. I know. It's not slowing down just yet.
Oh yeah, it's slowing way down.
Yeah, I know
So.
it's not, but just what are these practices been like with that logo on your chest, being able to be out there?
To me, it's just, man, I just, every day's an interview. You know, I want to do all I can to prove that I belong here. I think that, you know, it's not just me, you know, coaching college football. It's me coaching for my home state and all those people out there that are just like me, that probably deserve the shot more than I do, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, when you're out there and you're on that football field, there is no off days for me. I got to go out. And I think that's a good thing, because you got to live a little bit on the edge as far as how you approach coaching. And so, you know, as much of it as it might be a curse, you know, because you feel like, man, I got to do all this and I got to be a part of this. I think there's nothing wrong with feeling like you got to prove to people every day that you belong here. I think it's a good thing. As far as slowing down, we're not quite there yet. Now that we're in spring ball, you know, you're trying to find time to meet. You're trying to find time to do, you know, meetings with your players, academics, and those parts. But been some cool Sundays before church where I've gotten up and can't believe really what I'm doing. But you know, it's really cool, man. It is. Like I said, wearing this logo and actually getting to stand here and talk to you guys is probably one of the neater things I've got to do in my life. So.
Okay, last one. Back to Eli, player.
Sure, you came here with some picture of what it would be like working with Brent Venables, the head coach. What, if anything, has surprised you even this spring?
That even at the age of, what is he now, 50? How old is he now?
51.
Yeah, geez, he's the same as he was when he was 29, man. It's amazing. He gets up early, stays late. I'll get a text message at 11:30. I'll get a text message at 5:30. I mean, he's all in. He's the most competitive person I've ever been around. You know, he's out there. He sees everything. You know, and he's a big body language guy, and he always was. And so for me, he keeps me in check. You know, like I said, yeah, things are going to go bad, but the last thing he's going to allow is for us to lower our standard as coaches. And so it's a good thing. When we all get going in, you know, same direction, pushing in the same direction as far as schematically, and we're getting close, I think because of the standard that he holds, we're going to be really, really, really good.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you.
All right, guys. Thank you. Yep.